Whew. All right, I just wanted to make this video to document what happened to me this weekend. I don't really have any plans to do anything with the video, but just wanted to get it off my chest while it was all still fresh in my mind. Um, Went out to Cherokee, North Carolina for a one-wheel race this weekend. Um, Weather was perfect, which doesn't happen very often. We always get rain. Friday, I had been riding most of the day. I was actually the first one out to the trailhead, 6 a.m., used my flashlight to get to the top, rode the trails by myself. Early Friday morning, rode all day Friday. Was actually finished riding about 5, 6 o'clock Friday night. Went to dinner with Rachel, Nick, Robert, Mandy, Ian. And I'd said at the time, I'm done riding. I'm going to save all my energy for tomorrow. And I wish I would have listened to myself. Ended up going back out riding trails that night. It was the last trail of the night. We were coming down Spearfinger. I was out in the front, feeling really good. Been riding GT most of the weekend, trying to get comfortable on the GT. The trails were feeling good. And anyone that has ridden XR and goes to GT knows you get a little bit of a barrel roll underneath you. And I had a few decent falls, and they were all related to the board, just coming out underneath. So anyway, I'm out front, and it was a weird fall. I feel like it could have happened on any trail at any time. There was really nothing crazy there. It was just a weird way that flipped the board out from underneath me. I was probably doing 15, 16 miles an hour. The board comes out in front of me, and I just karate chopped the board right on the rail. And when that happened, just both bones snapped. Double compound fracture, both bones came out of my wrist. And top of a mountain is a shitty place for that to happen. So I was actually alone when it happened. I picked my left hand up with my right hand, and I was loaded with adrenaline. I actually jumped back on the board trying to get off the mountain. I mean, I knew I was at the top of the mountain, and there was really no way I was ever going to make it all the way down that mountain. But I knew I couldn't stay where I was because this adrenaline was going to run out. So I went about another 100 yards, and I stopped. And Rachel and Nick Payne came up shortly behind me. I lost track of time. I know it took a really long time to get to me. I heard it was about 3 hours total to get me off the mountain. I'm going to say it was probably an hour, hour and a half before the first EMT crews got to me. I want to just thank so much to Matt Holcomb. Man, he was there the whole time. That guy will never know how much he helped me. Rachel was there the whole time, Rachel Payne. I know it was hard for her to even look at my arm. It was so gross. I could tell a few times she was about to puke when she looked at it. Rachel Cecil was there with me, giving me words of encouragement. Nick Payne was on the go, getting the crews rounded. Justin was down on the ground working on getting EMT to me. I mean, my friends in the community really pulled together to get me off that mountain, and it just means so much to me. It was a shitty experience to be up there with your bones hanging out of your arm, but man, they made it the best they possibly could, and I'll forever be thankful for all of them and everyone. And I know there were some others there that I may or may not know their name or even remember the face, but anyone that had anything to do with me getting off that mountain, I sincerely thank you. So I get loaded onto the stretcher that's being pulled by a trailer on a four-wheeler, and we had about a 4 or 5 mile hike down the trails to get off the mountain, which was, let me tell you, I felt every single bump. There were several spots where they told me, hey, you're going to feel like you're going to roll off the edge. I promise you're not going to. And there were 3 people holding the stretcher from going over the edge of the mountain. It's not anyone that's been out to Fire Mountain and rode the trails. I'm pretty sure we came down the rest of Spearfinger and then down Fire Tower. Um, it's not a wide trail. It's a single track trail. It's not made for four-wheelers and trailers and stretchers, and so it took us a while to get down there. Once I got down there, I was loaded, and I come off of the hill, and there was probably 25 or 30 people in the parking lot, and I can remember seeing all of you guys there, and it felt good. I stayed conscious the whole time. I really do remember most of the details. Seeing everybody waiting for me there, come off the mountain. They loaded me into an ambulance, and from there they took me to Cherokee Hospital. They told me that there was nothing. At first I was excited because I thought that the hospital was close and I'd be back I was just gonna race in a cast on Saturday. I didn't really understand the full extremities of my injuries at the time. Other funny stories, whenever we were on the trail, I tried to get them to let me ride my one wheel back down the trail because I told them it would be less bumpy than the trailer, and I couldn't get anybody to go for it, but I was 100% serious. But anyway, Nick thought that was a pretty funny part of the story. So I get in the ambulance, I get over to Cherokee, they load me in a helicopter, and airlifted me to Asheville, North Carolina. We're at Mission Health Hospital. I was immediately admitted to the emergency room. The emergency room was overfull. It was crazy. There were people in the hallway. There were people screaming. It was insane. I'm on probably every drug under the sun at this point. I was still in a lot of pain. I was still conscious. I was still very aware. My cell phone was dead. My vape pen was dead. I mean, it was a shitty spot to be in. My arm was still messed up. The accident happened maybe 6 or 7 p.m. This is probably 1 a.m. at this point. I'm still sitting in the emergency room, and they come in to tell me that they are going to have to do surgery, but it will be tomorrow. They don't have the staff to do it right now, but they need to put my arm back in place. They told me they were going to knock me out for about 30 minutes to do that. So they gave me something called ketamine. Holy shit. I left this world for about 30 minutes and went to another dimension. I can't even begin to explain it. They told me I was going to have some weird dreams, and boy, did I. It was the craziest experience ever. I woke up 30 minutes later, came out of my video game cartoon world, and they had me straightened out in a splint. Was able to get some rest a little bit after that. I think they took me into surgery about 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. I came out of surgery out of recovery, probably about 3 or 4 p.m. on Saturday. Turns out I gave the hospital the wrong phone number for my wife, so they couldn't get a hold of her. I didn't want to call her in the woods because I didn't want to scare her. I wanted to get to the hospital and then call her. Again, I really didn't think everything was as bad as it was. But I did finally talk to her, probably about midnight or 1 o'clock when I was in the emergency room, and I very specifically told her not to come because I didn't want to add any additional burden to her life. I know she's busy and she also has a lot going on, and I'm out one-wheeling down a mountain, and I made my own decisions, and I wanted to take care of it and not add anybody additional burden. Well, she didn't listen. Her and my mother-in-law, Carol, drove in overnight. When I came out of surgery, I come out of the anesthesia, immediately see them, and I got mad. It was the drugs. I said, "Why are you here? I told you not to come." I'm so lucky to have both of those people. I'm so lucky to have everyone in my life that loves me and supports me and is going to help me get through this. And yeah, wasn't the vacation I planned, but I made it through. And you know, it's one of those, when you see it, you think I wouldn't be able to do that, but I did it. And when it happens to you, you're just not really given a choice. So, you know, I'm really bummed out that I missed the event. I'm bummed out that I'm out for the season. But hey, life's good. I got a home to come home to, a wife that loves me, a wonderful community of support, and titanium. Be back better than ever. But really just wanted to get all my memories on video while they were still fresh in my head. So the two concerns that they have right now are infection, with the bone coming out, basically dragged in the dirt. I had leaves, dirt, bugs, sticks, everything pulled back into my arm from the bone. So they're really worried about infection. And then bone growth. It wasn't a clean break, it was a shatter. The bone's completely shattered, and they were able to get the bones to touch, but there's not a lot of good contact. So they're really hopeful that the bone will grow back together, but there's an option that I'll have to go back in and do a bone graft. So fingers crossed, everything goes good. I got the typical 8-week recovery time. We'll see what happens, and keep everyone updated. And yeah, so I'm at a 12-minute video now. So I really wanted to say thank you to everyone and document my memories.